There comes a moment in life when you finally realize something that hurts, but also changes everything. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the perfect opportunity, not the perfect person, not some magical day when everything suddenly becomes easy. If you keep waiting for someone to rescue you from your circumstances, you may spend your entire life waiting. And I know that sounds harsh, but listen carefully. The moment you stop waiting to be saved is the moment you begin becoming powerful. Maybe you have been struggling for a long time. You wake up every morning knowing you should change something, but you keep telling yourself, tomorrow I will start. Tomorrow I will work harder. Tomorrow I will become disciplined. Tomorrow I will finally chase the dream I keep thinking about. But tomorrow keeps moving. And eventually you have to ask yourself one uncomfortable question. What if nobody is coming? What if the only person who can change your life is the person looking back at you in the mirror? That realization can feel frightening, but it can also be freedom. Because if nobody is coming to save you, then you no longer have to wait for permission. You can begin right now. You may not have everything you need. You may not have money. You may not have support. You may not have confidence. You may have failed more times than you want to admit. Maybe people have disappointed you. Maybe someone you trusted walked away. Maybe you applied for opportunities and got rejected. Maybe you worked hard and still watched somebody else succeed faster. Maybe your family does not understand your dream. Maybe your friends have moved ahead while you feel like you are standing in the same place. And sometimes, life can make you feel like you are carrying everything alone. But there is something you need to understand. Being alone is not the same as being powerless. You can be alone and still move forward. You can be afraid and still take action. You can be tired and still take one more step. You can be uncertain and still begin. You do not need to feel ready. You need to decide. Think about the person you could become if you stopped waiting for someone else to motivate you. Imagine waking up without needing somebody to push you. Imagine working on your goals even when nobody notices. Imagine keeping promises to yourself even when nobody is watching. That is where real confidence begins. Not in applause, not in attention, not in likes. Confidence begins when you prove to yourself that your own word means something. You say you are going to exercise, then you exercise. You say you are going to study, then you study. You say you are going to build something, then you build. You say you are going to leave behind the habits that are destroying your future. Then you start letting them go, little by little, day by day. That is how you rebuild yourself. Not through one dramatic moment, through hundreds of small decisions. And this is where most people lose. They want transformation without discomfort. They want success without uncertainty. They want discipline without sacrifice. They want the reward before they have earned the result. But life does not work that way. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of the things you keep avoiding. The difficult workout, the uncomfortable conversation, the extra hour of learning, the application you are afraid to send, the business idea you are afraid to start, the book you keep saying you will write, the habit you know you need to break, the boundary you are afraid to set. The first step will rarely feel comfortable. Take it anyway. Because nobody can walk your path for you. People can encourage you. People can love you. People can teach you. People can open doors, but nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can wake up inside your body and make your choices. Nobody can do the work when you are tired. Nobody can face your fears for you. And nobody can build the future that only you can imagine. That responsibility belongs to you. And yes, that responsibility is heavy, but responsibility is also power. When you stop blaming everyone else for where you are, you gain something incredibly valuable: control. Maybe your past was unfair. Maybe you were hurt. Maybe you were given fewer opportunities than someone else. Maybe you made terrible decisions. Maybe people treated you badly. You cannot always control what happened to you, but you can decide what happens next. Your past can explain you. It does not have to define you. You are not required to remain the person you were 5 years ago. You are not required to repeat the mistakes you made last year. You are not required to live according to the limits other people placed on you. You can change, and change often begins quietly. Nobody sees it at first. You wake up earlier. You stop arguing with people who drain you. You spend less time scrolling. You start learning. You start exercising. You save a little money. You work on your craft. You say no. You say yes to yourself. You keep going when nobody claps. And one day, people look at you and say, "You have changed." They may think it happened suddenly. It did not. They just did not see the thousands of small choices that created the new version of you. Remember that when progress feels invisible, just because you cannot see the result yet does not mean the work is pointless. A seed spends a long time underground before anyone sees the tree. Your growth can look like nothing is happening, but underneath the surface, everything can be changing. So do not quit simply because you cannot see immediate results. Patience is part of the process. You might work for months and see very little. You might spend years becoming good at something before anyone notices. You might fail again and again. You might have days when you question everything. That does not mean you are losing. Sometimes it means you are learning how to continue without guarantees. And that is a powerful skill. Because life will not always give you certainty. You will not always know whether the next step will work. You will not always know whether your dream will come true. You will not always know whether the person you love will stay. You will not always know whether your effort will pay off. But you can still move. You can move without certainty. You can act without confidence. You can begin without knowing the ending. That is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is refusing to let fear make every decision for you. So if you are waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting. If you are waiting until you feel confident, start before confidence arrives. If you are waiting for everyone to believe in you, believe in yourself first. If you are waiting for someone to give you permission, give yourself permission. And if you are waiting for somebody to save you, save yourself. Not because you should never accept help. You should. Ask for help when you need it. Learn from people who know more than you. Accept support. Build relationships. Let good people stand beside you. But never surrender your responsibility for your own life. Support can help you move. It should not become the reason you refuse to move. There is a difference between asking for help and waiting for rescue. Learn that difference. Because one creates strength, the other creates dependence. You do not need somebody to carry you to the finish line. You need to become strong enough to keep walking. And maybe today, you are exhausted. Maybe you have been fighting for a long time. If that is you, hear this clearly. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to have a bad day. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to admit that something hurts. Being strong does not mean pretending everything is fine. Strength means you feel the pain, and you continue when you are able. Rest if you need to, then rise again. There will be days when motivation disappears. That is why you need discipline. Motivation says, I feel like doing this. Discipline says, I am doing it anyway. You cannot build your future based only on how you feel today. Some days you will feel unstoppable. Other days you will feel completely lost. Your commitment has to survive both. Because the people who change their lives are not always the most talented. They are often the ones who keep showing up, again and again and again, even after failure, especially after failure. Failure is not proof that you should stop. Sometimes failure is simply the price of becoming better. You tried. It did not work. Learn. Adjust. Try again. You were rejected. That hurts. Learn. Improve. Apply again. You made a mistake. Own it. Fix what you can. Keep moving. Do not turn one bad chapter into the conclusion of your entire story. Your life is still being written, and you have more pages left. Maybe you think you started too late. Maybe you look at other people and wonder why they are already successful. Stop measuring your chapter 1 against somebody else's chapter 20. You do not know their journey. You do not know their sacrifices. You do not know what happened behind closed doors. And more importantly, their timeline is not your timeline. Your job is not to become somebody else. Your job is to become the strongest, wisest, most disciplined version of yourself. So look at your life honestly. What are you avoiding? What promise have you been breaking to yourself? What dream keeps returning to your mind? What habit is quietly destroying your future? What decision have you been postponing? You probably already know the answer. And maybe that answer scares you. Good. Let it scare you. Then take the first step. You do not have to fix your entire life tonight. You only need to do the next right thing. Make the call. Send the application. Open the book. Take the walk. Do the workout. Write the first page. Study for 1 hour. Turn off the phone. Wake up tomorrow and do it again. Small actions become habits. Habits become character. Character shapes your future. And one day, you will look back at this version of yourself. The tired version. The uncertain version. The version that almost gave up. And you will realize something. That person did not need to have everything figured out. They just needed to keep going. So stop waiting for rescue. Stop waiting for the world to become fair. Stop waiting for everybody to understand. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. The world may never hand you the life you want. You may have to build it. brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. And yes, it will be difficult. There will be setbacks. There will be lonely nights. There will be moments when you wonder whether any of it is worth it. But remember why you started. Remember the person you want to become. Remember the life you know is possible if you refuse to give up. One day, the struggle that feels unbearable today may become the story that gives somebody else hope. One day, the discipline you hate today may become the freedom you love tomorrow. One day, the sacrifices nobody noticed may become the foundation of everything you are proud of. So keep going. Not because it is easy, because your future deserves the effort. Not because you are guaranteed success, because you owe yourself the chance to find out what you are capable of. And not because somebody is coming to save you, because you have finally decided you are going to save yourself. You are going to take responsibility for your life. You are going to stop asking, when will someone come? And start asking, what can I do today? That question can change everything. You do not need a perfect life. You need a direction. You do not need endless motivation. You need a reason. You do not need everybody behind you. You need enough courage to keep moving. And you do not need to know exactly where the road ends. You only need the courage to take the next step. So take it. Today, not someday. Not when you feel ready. Not when everyone believes in you. Today. Because nobody is coming to save you. And that is not the bad news. That is the beginning of your freedom. The moment you understand that your life is in your hands, you stop waiting. You stop begging for permission. You stop making excuses. You stand up. You take responsibility. You take the first step, then another, and another. Until one day you realize you are no longer trying to escape the life you were given, you are building the life you chose. Nobody is coming, so become the person you have been waiting for. Start now, and do not stop.